So guys, how you doing? Before we start guys, I know there's games in the midweek and I've also put down predictions for them. So I'm looking at 1-0 Bournemouth, 3-1 City, Newcastle with a win against Spurs, surprising draw between Arsenal and Brentford, gone for a thrill against Brighton and Villa, Palace to win, Forest to win, Chelsea to win, Liverpool to win, and I've gone for another thriller, Man United 3-2. So those are my week 14 predictions. And now we can look at my week 13 predictions. I've not done well at all. Pretty terrible. Let me have a look. Liverpool won. I predicted a draw, so horrible. 2-1 Everton. I don't know what I was thinking. I wouldn't know what to think anyway, but Newcastle won 4-1. And why did I not go for Fulham to win? Why did I not say that? And yet, another stinker. Forest predicted to win. Brighton won instead. I wasn't really predicting Leeds to score 2 at Man City, so I don't think a lot of people predicted that one. So yeah, Chelsea, Arsenal, I've got wrong. Wasn't as comfortable win as I thought for Aston Villa. It was only 1-0. I was so nearly right with Sunderland and Bournemouth, wasn't I? Very nearly. But I got it wrong regardless. Yeah, it wasn't as close with Brentford and Burnley, I must say. I had a strong feeling Man United would win, but I just wasn't sure. I should have stuck to my gut, but here we are. So I'm going to say thumbs down for all these predictions. Nothing right. But we're going to try again for week 15. So without further ado, here are my predictions for week 15 of the Premier League this season. So here we go! Aston Villa versus Arsenal. Not the best of performances I've seen from Villa against Wolves, but they got the job done, and that's all that matters to them, really. And Arsenal, in my perspective, they've had their work cut out there, haven't they? Against 10-men Chelsea, they still couldn't win. Can't really tell if it's a good point for them or points dropped, They can see it as both ways, but Aston Villa are absolutely one of those teams that can frustrate Arsenal and perhaps take a point out of them. Maybe a win. I don't think it's going to be a win, but I do think it could be a 1-1 draw. Tottenham versus Brentford. As I expected, Tottenham were very, very, very bad. Going from the Tottenham Hotspur team that we all remember with Harry Kane, Son, Eriksen, all those players that they had, finishing top 4 and all that, we are now seeing a very different Tottenham side, a very average one. And they're just not a great side anymore. But in the first 6 minutes of the game against Fulham, the damage was already done. Yeah, that's how far Tottenham have really got. See, Brentford took a long while to get going against Burnley. Took them 80 minutes to get the first goal. But in the end, Brentford got the job done. They got the 3 points. That's all they needed. And do Brentford have a chance to win this game? Yeah, absolutely. Because I can't really trust Tottenham in any game right now. So I'm going to go for quite a interesting one, a 2-1 Brentford win. Bournemouth versus Chelsea. Yeah, right now, things are just not going Bournemouth's way. They were 2-0 up at Sunderland, but since going 2-0 up, they've lost control of the game. They allowed Sunderland to get back into it, and, they paid the price for it. Chelsea did really well to get a point against Arsenal. I wouldn't say that's points dropped for them, because they were 1-0 up, but I can say they were down on 10 men. They got a point against the league leaders. So I can say it's not all bad for Chelsea. I can't really see Bournemouth getting anything out of this game, so I'm going to go for a Chelsea 3-1 win. Everton versus Nottingham Forest. Everton were awful. They were absolutely awful. I mean, going 3-0 down before half-time. For them to go from beating Manchester United with 10 men to eventually capitulating against Newcastle at home. I can say this, that is one of the most Everton things I've ever seen. I just feel like Nottingham Forest had a really bad day against Brighton. They lacked that cutting edge, they weren't clinical, and with that result, their unbeaten run has come to an end. Very tough game to call because I don't even know which Everton will turn up anymore. But I've noticed that Forest have been scoring goals of late, despite the last game. So I feel like there could be goals in this. And I'll probably take a risk with this one because Everton do not score much, but I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Manchester City versus Sunderland. All those chances that City had in the first half, they should have put the game to bed against Leeds. They've had that many chances, but going only 2-0 in at half-time. Nobody really thought that they give away a 2-0 lead, but this is Man City we're talking about, right? They're good at scoring goals. They don't ever give up. The game is theirs for the taking. They came out as 3-2 winners, What can I say? This is what Man City does. And Sunderland, brilliant result for them, being 2-0 down. But Sunderland showed great character and commitment and togetherness to get back into the game. But this is what Sunderland have been doing all season. They're always in every game. And I'm going to say this. I'm interested to see what Sunderland can do against City here. If Sunderland can take a point out of Arsenal, then they can do against City. And I think Sunderland will give it a go. But City just have that quality, So I'm just going to go for a 2-1 Man City win. Not a pretty win, but still. Newcastle versus Burnley. Newcastle had a big, big win. When I said that Newcastle need to start upping their game in the Premier League after some very lacklustre performances, they're doing it now. And all I can say for Burnley, though, is that Just same old, same story. We all knew that Burnley were going to be in a relegation battle anyway, so, this is nothing new to me. So straight away, I've made my mind up. I don't think Burnley are going to get anything out of this game. I feel like Newcastle will keep this run of form going. I think Newcastle will come out as emphatic 3-0 winners. Leeds versus Liverpool. And now look, I've got to hand it to Leeds though. In that first half, they were terrible. But in that second half, I never thought they would come back from 2-0 down, and they actually gave it a very good go. It almost seemed like they could pull off a surprise win against Man City. But I can say Leeds were just very unlucky to lose that game. They didn't deserve to lose. But if Leeds continue to keep playing like they did in the second half, they could potentially get more points, which they should. But they should have more points on the board, really. They've thrown away so many leads this season. Well, I could say at last, Liverpool thoroughly deserved their win against West Ham. The desire and the determination to get the win they needed to settle the nerves. They still had to work hard to go 1-0 up, which took them like an hour, but they don't care. They won the game. So let's see if Liverpool's fortunes have changed at last. So for this one, I'm pretty sure Liverpool will win, actually. That performance at Man City might just encourage Leeds to actually push harder for a win. But realistically, Liverpool have more quality than Leeds. So I think Liverpool will win 2-1. Brighton versus West Ham. Brighton had a very good win against Nottingham Forest. It was a pretty hard-fought win, had to survive a couple of scares. But overall, they were clinical, took their chances when they need to. They go away with the 3 points, which I think they deserved. And West Ham didn't have a good game against Liverpool. They looked really poor. But merely a reality check that West Ham are still down there in the mix of relegation. They still have a lot of work to do. Like I said, they still got tweaks. This looks like a Brighton win to me, considering Brighton is not West Ham's favourite team to play. So I'm predicting a 3-1 win to Brighton. Fulham versus Crystal Palace. Brilliant win for Fulham at the weekend against Tottenham. To go 2-0 up inside the first 6 minutes, I would say the game was already won then. Throughout the whole game, they didn't give Tottenham a sniff. They controlled the game really well. They were very calm and showed togetherness to get the 3 points. So that's 2 wins in a row for Fulham, so nice upturn in form for them. I can't say the same for Palace, really, because the win was in their sights when they were at 1-0, but in the second half they completely let Manchester United back into the game, and it proved really costly for them. So that's Crystal Palace's home record torn to pieces. But Crystal Palace are still a strong team regardless, so I can back them to get something from this game. And also, I think Fulham will get something from this game as well. I don't know how many games I'm predicting to have lots of goals in, but I'm going for another one, 2-2 draw. Wolves versus Manchester United. I really do feel for Wolves, really. They really went for the win against Aston Villa, and they had their chances to win the game, or get a point, but at the end of the day, Aston Villa have done the one thing that Wolves can't do. Score. But from my perspective, an improved performance from Wolves. Also, Manchester United had to really grind out their win against Crystal Palace. Absolutely terrible in the first half. But in the second half, keeping faith in the players has really paid off for the manager. They came out 2-1 winners. And while they did show great character to win that game, they still got problems. And we've all known that. In fact, they've had problems for such a long time now. I want to say I think Wolves will win this one, but at the same time, you never know what you're going to get with Manchester United at this point. So I'm going to go for a point for both teams, but a disappointing result for Man United, 1-1. So there you have it. Those are my predictions for Week 15. I've got a feeling I predict too many goals to happen. But yeah, I've made some big calls there, so let's see if they pay off. I mean, if I'm predicting Arsenal to not win, that's basically a big call. If I'm going for Wolves to get a point, that's also a big call, so. And that is actually it for this video, so please feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please leave a like and a comment in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys next time. Peace!